So, first of all, a very, very big congratulations to Dr. Niranjan and a big,
Thank you,
heartiest
sir.
congratulations for having cleared this great exam. And he has scored a very meritorious rank of 4 in the common merit list in the INISS exams of nephrology. So, how do you feel, Niranjan?
So I'm so happy now. I didn't expect. I wanted to get a rank within 10, but I didn't get expect a rank for the exam because there were total of 10 seats available for the specialty entrance. So I was hoping to. They gave a called 18 people for the interview. So I was hoping at least I could get within the top 10. But I am very happy to get in the top 4.
So, just take us through that moment, those precious seconds when you saw the result. Did it sink inside you? Did you recheck? Did you ask your partner or your parents to see it for you? What happened exactly? We want to capture that moment with you.
So actually, the result came in the midnight around 11:30, 12. I came to know only by that time only, sir. Actually, when I went to the first day I went to the common merit list, I was actually surprised to be in top 4, and I asked my partner to again check. She again checked. Yeah, it's your number itself, and I was so happy, unexplainable, sir. So I was so
it
happy.
is it is really an awesome moment to achieve such a big achievement, and not only for you but also for us and the entire doc tutorials team, because we've been associated with you, and it is a wonderful feeling.
Thank
So
you, sir.
first of all, Niranjan, tell me about yourself. Tell the audiences, introduce yourself. Where are you from? Where have you done your MBBS from? Take us through your belongings.
Sir, myself, Dr. Niranjan. I'm from Kerala, Trivandrum. I did my MBBS from Government Medical College, Kottayam. Then I did my MD in General Medicine from Government Medical College, Ernakulam. Then actually, I sir last time also during the June July session also I was qualified for the AIMS interview. I was selected in the top 21, but my interview didn't go well. Actually, last time also, sir, you gave a mock interview for me. That's when I started getting to know, sir. You gave us a mock interview. Then, as after the because the interview didn't go well for me, the AIMS interview. After that, I took the doctoral subscription also, sir, and that has really helped. Sir, during the first year of my MD period, I basically stick on to Harrison, sir. Harrison, I tried to properly start reading the first cardinal manifestations of clinical diseases, the first section of the Harrison. I started reading the various systems. That in a systematic order, I just basically how to approach each symptomatology in various systems. I just tried to complete the various symptomatology. Then,
Okay, first things
uh,
first. We will discuss that in great details. The audience wants to know the big question, that why nephrology? Why has Dr. Niranjan chosen nephrology to be his lifelong career?
actually, like nephrology has always been my passion since my first year MD medicine period. But I don't know how the things work out and all because only after the second year of my MD period, I confirmed that I have to take nephrology. So because nephrology is a subject which is more closely related to general medicine because it deals all the system. If you don't properly have a good knowledge of general medicine, properly have to know about every system. Kidney, renal system has manifestations in all systems. So if you don't have a proper understanding of the general medicine, you cannot learn nephrology. And
This is a very,
because
very beautiful thing, my audiences, that Dr. Niranjan has spoken about. That probably I also feel that nephrology is one of those subjects which is the closest to internal medicine. So if there are some people who write from the time they crack NEET PG, they start asking me, sir, I want to be a nephrologist. Should I only study nephrology during my residency? But that's the big answer that I want to give to all of them is a strict no, because you first need to grasp the basic subject, which is general medicine. So you need to have a holistic approach of the entire general medicine. Only then will you be able to super specialize in a certain subject. And that is probably true for all the super specialties. So all the juniors, to all my junior colleagues, one single message that Dr. Niranjan wants to give you is focus on the basics first and then try to capitalize on it. Okay. So as you said that towards the end of the second year, maybe you decided about your nephrology. So did you have nephrology exposure while MD days, during your MD days?
yes, yes, actually, sir, in during a second year period, we have a separate specialty posting for nephrology. And during the first year itself, we do will consult the nephrology regarding any nephrology patients admitted in our ward. We will have consultations with our consultants in nephrology, and we do discuss the cases with our nephrologist. But during the second year, when I was posted in the nephrology department for the specialty posting, I got to know more about nephrology regarding the various how I got two beautiful PGs. They really helped me. They mentored me so helpfully. They guided me. They helped me in various procedures. Also helped me in how to consult a patient, how to do a nephrology consultation, what all things you have to do. Then they also told me which all things you have to read, what basics you have to start with. That's when I started reading Fihali. That is during my nephrology posting. That's the first time I have started reading Fihali. I started reading the basic topics like electrolyte imbalance, then acid-base balance, then acute kidney injury, CKD. Basic topics I've started reading and just started reading Fihali from the second year nephrology courses. Then slowly I started completing the topics in Fihali. So.
Great. So, this is how a good planned, structured approach helps you to clear such a big exam. See, what Dr. Niranjan has very specifically told is he decided on his goal early and then he unknowingly formulated a very structured approach. So, during the first year of his residency, he just focused on seeing the patients in the ward and he read the general medicine portion from Harrison. In the second year, when he relatively had more amount of time, and when he was seeing nephrology patients, that was the time when he also corroborated it with the knowledge from the nephrology super specialty textbook. So the moral of the story is, what your mind does not know, your eyes cannot see. So similarly, I also believe the corollary that what your eyes cannot see, what your eyes don't see, your mind does not register. So only when you've seen a patient of acute kidney injury will you be able to grasp the topic of acute kidney injury. Only when you've seen a patient, I still remembered in my first year residency that in which corner of my medicine ward was the first patient of vaginous granulomatosis was admitted. You have these memories that उस ward के उस corner में एक बुढ़ा सा patient था जिसको we had diagnosed with vaginous or which is now known as CGP. So this is the thing that you need to develop, that you have to take both clinical medicine and the theoretical part side by side. Okay. First of all, Dr. Niranjan, could you please make our audiences aware what is this exam INISS and whether it was conducted for the first time? So, most of the viewers won't even know what is this exam. So, tell us.
It's actually an institute exam where from which the rank list is put and people are taken admission into the AIMS and peripheral AIMS as well as PGI Chandigarh and JIPMER for nephrology. Actually consists of 80 questions, of which this time around 50 questions, around 50 questions came from nephrology and almost 30 questions came from general medicine. So they gave quite importance to general medicine also, and the questions for general medicine are also of good standards. Actually, they were very
And what was the
confusing.
negative marking thing? Was there any?
So actually, for each correct response, you'll get 1 mark, and for each negative response, minus 1/3. Sir.
So it's a 33% negative marking that you had in INISS. So for all the viewers, it is an Institute of National Importance super specialty exam, just like they had conducted the INI exam for the postgraduate entrance examination, where they had all the central institutes clubbed together. Similarly, they conducted the super specialty INISS exam for the very first time in this December. And so, how many stages are there in this exam, Niranjan?
Sir, after the first 80 questions, that is a theory paper, they will conduct a interview, that is AIMS interview. Based on the AIMS interview, they will publish separate AIMS merit list, and based on the theory marks alone, they will publish a common merit list. Based on the common merit list, they will proceed with the allotment process for the PGI Chandigarh and JIPMER, and based on the AIMS rank list, they will proceed with the allotment for the AIMS Delhi and the peripheral AIMS.
Okay, so the common merit list has got nothing to do with the interview.
Yes, sir.
So interview in PGI, Chandigarh and JIPMER is independent of your interview performance.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so just for the viewer, just to simplify it, INISS is a two-staged exam. Stage 1 is a theory paper consisting of 80 marks, where you get a +1 and a -1/3 for a wrong answer. Out of that theory examination, the things that you score, the mark that you score, you get shortlisted for the second round, which is the AIMS interview, which is approximately 4 to 5 days after the results have come out. Then after you sit for the interview, there's another rank list by the virtue of which you get selected into the AIMS. By AIMS, we mean also the AIMS New Delhi and also the peripheral AIMS. by the theory exam only, you have the common merit list by which you get enrolled into the PGI Chandigarh and the JIPMER. So, Dr. Niranjan, what was your score in the stage one, that is the theory paper?
So my score was 48.377.
48 point,
Yeah,
almost
three.
48.4 out of 80.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. And did you get to know what was the highest mark scored?
So actually, the top score was 52. 52
The
point.
top score was 52. So, can you just tell to the budding INISS aspirants what should be the strategy? I mean, how much minimum should one attempt to be in the race in an INISS exam?
Sir, actually, this time the paper was quite tough. That's why it was a low scoring exam. Usually, because only a limited number of seats. So if you want a seat, it's always better to attempt high, because if you attempt
Absolutely.
low, there is no you won't already the seats are limited. That's only 10 seats. So if you want to be in top 10, you have to attempt maximum. So without attempting maximum, following a conservative approach, it's difficult. Otherwise, you have to be a 100% 100 correct formula. You should be that confident. Otherwise, you should have a high number of attempts should be made. So I think
So
so.
what he's trying to tell is, if you are playing an ODI match, a 50 over match, even if you score 200 runs in the first 20 overs and you get bowled out at the 25th over, you will not win the match. To win an ODI, you need to play the 50 overs. There might be some times that when you are slow enough, but you have to play the 50 overs. So you have to be in the race. You must attempt at least. I have talked to the winners of the last 3 years. Depending upon the toughness of the paper, what I have felt is 60 is
And
one mark which most of the people have stressed around. So it
yes,
is around 55 to 65 that you need to attempt necessarily. So that even you have to counter for the negative marking, and your score must be in an easy paper around 50 or more, and in a tough paper, as he said, around 45 or more to be in the list. That is what I have gathered from the winners and from the students who have cleared the exam and what they have told me. So
last time
just
the scoring was quite high. Last
yeah.
time the scoring, topper scored on 67, 65 last time.
Exactly. So that is where your gauging of the question paper comes. So if you feel the question paper is very tough, obviously it will be tough for all. So you need to play a bit conservative. And if it's a flat pitch, then you need to go all guns blazing and play like Virender Sehwag. So it's a very very calculative and a very very analytic game at the end of the day. So I would also like to inform, as Dr. Niranjan has already said, that he had also cleared the INISS first round in the last exam. So would you just like to tell our viewers that what happened there and why did you not clear and what were your learnings from them for that from that experience?
The last time, that is June July session, I cleared the first round. I was selected for the AIIMS interview, but during the interview, I was basically they asked clinical scenarios in the interviews. Sir, they want a proper approach. They were assessing our basic approach. They don't want a proper diagnosis. They want how we approach it. For example, a case of rapidly progressive. They gave me a case of a rapidly progressive glomerulonephritis. They wanted to know how I approach the case. What are the various glomerular syndromes, renal syndromes, whether it's a PGN, whether it is a chronic glomerulonephritis, whether it is a chronic kidney disease. They wanted to know what type of nephrotic syndrome, nephritic syndrome. Actually, they wanted to know our basic approach to various disorders in renal disease, and they don't want a proper diagnosis. And after they not only check the knowledge of ours in the nephrology, they also checked our knowledge in general medicine also. They also asked about COVID-19, how interpretation of ECG. In ECG also, even if the ECG is related to hypokalemia, they want to know how we properly interpret an ECG from basics. We should not say straight away say it's a case of hypokalemia. We should say it's a how we properly approach or read an ECG. We have to say in a order. They're assessing such a
So
way.
what he has very very importantly said is always stick to the basics. As we grow old, we tend to think that we know more, but you start forgetting the basics, right? Just remember your third year part one class when you were taught reading an ECG, and the first thing you were taught is first see the axis of the ECG, then see the heart rate, then see the PR interval, then see the QRS axis, then see the QR, then see the QT interval. So it is that systematic approach. When you go through that approach, not only do you not miss anything, but also the examiner gets to know that you have absolutely crystal clear concepts. So just, you just saw a U wave, you saw an ST depression, and you just commented because it's a nephrology exam, so electrolyte disorders to hoga hi, so it's a hypokalemia. But no. So this shows that you hurry on to things. But what they want is who patiently can interpret things in a structured manner. So
This is the exact mistake that I've done last year. Seeing the ECG, I said it's an hypokalemia. They don't want whether anyone can say it's hypokalemia. They want to see how we properly read an ECG. I straight away said it's hypokalemia. My approach was totally wrong last time.
So what he has said, see, right, last time also, Niranjan, maybe and obviously he did have the required knowledge to clear the exam. But what he was lacking is he lacked a structured approach. He lacked the patience and the conscience to correctly formulate an answer in a stepwise manner. He was rushing onto things, and that is why he missed the exam by a whisker. But this time he was well armed. He was well prepared. He was preparing with us, and we were there with him on at every step. And gradually, and here the results are saying each and everything. So now, Niranjan, for the young viewers and for the young aspirants, if you can just tell us, any person who is right now doing MD first year or MD second year, and he just wants to crack AIMS, he just wants to study nephrology at PGI Chandigarh, just tell him what books to study and how to study smartly. Because everybody knows that there are 3, 4 standard books, and you one can say that read everything, but obviously that is not humanly possible. So smartly, can you just break down how to crack AIMS in a nutshell?
But actually, during your first year, cardinal manifestations in clinical disease, Harrison first part is a must. You have to read if a patient comes with even hypokalemia to the ward, you have to read about hypokalemia from the cardinal manifestations, how to approach. The approach is properly given in Harrison. No book is needed. Approach is pakka given in Harrison. Then I use up to date, sir. Up to date, we get a good treatment guidelines. Then we will get a lot of beautiful flow charts in up to date. Then I use up to date also to study the various treatments. And then most importantly about this, properly doing the clinical work in the ward. You have to see all the patients properly, start examining properly, finish up the case sheets properly. Then based on the basic complaint of the patient, how to interpret the complaint, what all history you have to take, properly read it from the cardinal manifestations, clinical disease from the Harrison. Then the properly after finishing the cardinal manifestations, then I started reading the system wise from Harrison. That is CVS, GIT, neurology, then and endocrine. Whole system based on the not by straight by after based on the what I see in the ward. That is, if I see a case of hyperthyroidism, I will start reading thyroid from Harrison. Then I will, along with this, I will read up to date. What is extra given? That is, Harrison was 2017. So latest things are given in up to date. So I will use up to date to see what are the latest things in the treatment protocol. Then during the second year, when I was posted in the nephrology, I started reading Fihali. Fihali, I just study the basic topics,
So
common topics.
basically, he means comprehensive clinical nephrology by Dr. Fihali, and
Fihali.
which colloquially students refer to as Fihali. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I read about the basic topics, sir. I made notes. Sir. Actually, tough topics like acid-base balance, electrolyte imbalance, then hypertension, then microangiopathic hemolytic anemia, then CKD-AK. I made notes for that topics. Then
So did you make all these notes while you were a medicine resident only, or did you drop for a year and when did you complete your MD?
Sir, I completed my MD recently only, sir. I'm just doing my senior residency now.
Okay. So basically you did all these things in your residency only.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. And that was probably during the second year.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. In second year, I started reading Fihali, sir.
So during second year, when he was doing residency, when he was in his super specialty postings, he not only read Fihali, but he also started making notes out. Yeah, continue.
Not of the whole Fihali, sir. Only the important topics, which I found very important. I made notes for, sir. Because then during the neurology posting, and along with that, I read Harrison, sir. Only after reading the Harrison, only I went for Fihali, sir. Harrison is my basic, sir. Only after reading Harrison, I went for Fihali. Then in each specialty posting, I tried to cover maximum topics from Harrison, sir. When I went to neurology, I tried to read Harrison neurology as well as some of the clinical examination topics from De Jong, sir. Then each specialty I started systematically. I tried to cover some of the important topics from each specialty during the second year. Then while doing the third year, I tried to
By then you had
during my
already made
third.
up your mind regarding
Yes, sir.
nephrology. But
Yes, sir.
now you were getting onto the upper gears.
Yes, sir. Then during the third year, sir, actually during my third year, I found out Muthu sir from nephrology. He made a group in Telegram, and I joined that group. I attended sir's a few classes on nephrology, and actually that has really as a high opener for me, because I uh, came to know more concepts. That is, he was so enthusiastic with histology images, various images, various KDO guidelines. That's only when I started reading KDO guidelines, and also after that, then I concentrated primarily for my MD final exams. After finishing of my final year exams, during my final year MD exam, the AIMS exams was called. Then during that period, helped me was the notes I made for important topics. I revised the notes for that important topics, as well as FIHALI. I almost completed the FIHALI during the third year along with Harrison. Then I read the FIHALI and the notes for, and then I attended the AIMS examination. It's called for the interview, but during that time I had my MD final year exams. There was a clash, and then I gave the interview, and I just after the interview I just finished my MD exams also. So basically, Harrison, Up to Date, and FIHALI, and clinical examination books for various subjects. That has helped me in
So it is
properly
only
completing my MD
after
exam.
your attempt at the AIMS interview did you join doc tutorials.
No, sir. Before that, I already before the AIMS exam itself, 2 months before that itself, I
Okay,
started
yeah.
subscribing dots, and
Yeah.
I
So
started
so so
started
all
doing
for
question
all
banks.
Yeah, for all the viewers, let me tell you that Dr. Niranjan is a full nephrology course subscriber at Doc Tutorials. So, he has subscribed to all the nephrology videos, the test series, and all the discussions as well. So, tell me, how have the videos of nephrology at the Doc Tutorials app, which have been obviously created by me, and the Elite test series, how have they helped you?
After the first AIMS exams, after getting selected for the interview, actually, I attended your mock interview. So first, I attended your mock interview, and that actually gave us an eye opener, because most of the questions you could have remembered, because all the questions without proper analysis, I straight away jumped to the answers. You always told me, don't go to the jump to the answer, properly analyze the question and approach in a systematic way. The same mistake I committed in the interview, AIMS interview, and that has cost me a seat. Then after the interview, I just messaged you that night itself, sir. I was really, really disappointed, and you tell me nothing, just try for the next exam, study well. Then I subscribed the doc tutorial interview, and I texted you that I have subscribed, and you said, well done, go ahead. Then I started doing the question bank from system wise. Then watch your videos. That is topics which were really, really tough, like the anatomy, physiology, renal investigations. These are the most neglected topics. Most of them won't read, because it is a really high yielding topic. You have to properly read the anatomy, physiology, renal investigations. So I started from that itself, and I've done the mock test also, conducted by doctor tutorials. I have attended most of the some of the doctor tests I could not do on time, but I will do it later. I will have already I completed almost all the mock tests that is given in the doctor tutorials, including general medicine as well as nephrology, and that has really helped me, because most even the one question, that is TMA question, which of the drug plasmapheresis treatment, that was asked in the mock INISS mock conducted by Dr. Tutorial. That similar question came in the AIMS also.
And
And
that
actually,
question, that paper I had only made, and that same question, a very similar question, appeared in the last year AIMS also.
yes, sir. Last year also the came.
It also came. So, purposely being inspired from the last 2 years patterns, I curated this year's paper, and I got, from the feedback which I got to know, approximately 28 questions were directly from my notes and from the
Yes, sir.
discussion and from the test that we had got. So
Yes, sir.
out
Yes,
of
sir.
out of 50 nephrology questions, approximately 60% were directly from our notes and
Yes,
from
sir.
our discussion that we'd already made. That is why we got such good results.
Yes, sir. Most of the questions, only the medicine questions were the real tough thing. All the most of the 50 questions of the nephro, almost 40 to 42 you would have got correct if you have done properly, done the question bank and including the proper question bank videos and proper revision of PHALI. The 30 questions in medicine, also some of them were easy, some were a bit difficult, confusing. But if you have properly done your MD medicine properly by reading everything from Harrison as well as up to date, then in that 30 questions also you could have got around 15-20 questions correct.
Can you just enumerate a few important 5 6 topics out of from the topics which really you need to stress upon for the INISS exam, and on which the examiners really ponder upon while making questions for stage one?
So actually, glomerular disease, you should not miss glomerular disease. Their favorite topic, the glomerular disease, especially the small vessel vasculitis, anti-GBM disease. Then, okay, the complications of CKD, that is bone mineral disorders of CKD. Then these are the most important topics. Then the basic renal investigations. Renal investigation is also important topic because they will ask a question from renal investigation. One of the any DTP, DMS, any some question will be definitely coming. Then ABG, acid-base disorders, electrolyte imbalance, you showed this acid-base balance, electrolyte imbalance. A definite question will come from, even one question was fraction of hyponatremia came from that was a basic question. If you had done a proper what rounds, you would not miss that question. That was a
Absolutely.
simple.
Even an MD first year resident can answer if he's correctly
Yes,
managed an hyponatremic patient.
yes, sir.
And were there any image-based questions in the
Yes,
INISS
sir.
theory
Yes,
exam?
sir. Glomerular histology is very important. You should not miss a glomerular histology question because this time also they asked glomerular histology. Proper various stains used for glomerular biopsy. Then which are the fixative mediums. Then what are the most important thing is the KDIGO guidelines for glomerular disease, which I read and revised 1 week before the exam. That is important because most of the things that is the practical recommendations are given in the first chapter itself. The most practical points you have to just go through that is 3 or 4 times, then that will be more easy because most of the treatment protocol this time also FSGS one question came from what to do the further, what is the next. It is properly given in the guidelines. So reading the guidelines, that is KDO guidelines, also important. That will also help you in that sense.
Because just like any textbook, Fihali is also written 3 4 years previously, and KDIGO updates its guidelines periodically, and happily for you, it has updated in right to 2021. So
Yes,
you
sir.
need to be aware of the latest KDIGO guidelines, is what Dr. Niranjan is telling you to appear for any exam, because the treatment protocol changes entirely if you just rely on the older books and the older treatment protocols. So you need to be aware of the latest treatment protocol. Okay, so this is what you want to say, that you should read these things. What about statistics? Were there any questions on statistics?
Yes, sir. Actually, there was a question on skew deviation this time. Statistics is very important. You should know the basics of statistics because if you've done a proper thesis work, you will not miss a question of statistics.
How
They
many
will ask
questions
a
on an
question.
average come from statistics?
So last time 3 or 4 questions came. Last year. This time I think only 1 or 2 questions came. Last time statistics was must 3 or 4 questions came.
Okay, okay. So this is again a take-home message that even though you have left PSM quite a long time back, but PSM does not leave you. So
Yes, sir.
whenever, because even in your residency you are exposed to journal clubs, and you need to know how to read a paper. If you have to read a paper, you need to know some basic terminologies like sensitivity, specificity, positive predictive value, negative predictive value, ROC curve, the p value, and the basic test, the parametric test, the non-parametric test, the student t test, the chi-square test. So these are basic things what I ask you. And let me tell you, more than 90% of the students fail to understand the grasp of it, and that is why they find statistics very tough. And they think that I'll leave these 2 questions and go. But no, if you want to be a top ranker at INISS, you cannot leave those two also. And let me tell you, it will not take much time of yours. Just revise the basic tables and the basic formula before the exam, and just revise once more just immediately before the exam, and that will be all. Am I right?
That is a definite short question, sir. Definitely, if you just go through the 1 or 2, 3 pages maximum you have to read. If you just read that, you will definitely get minimum of 2 questions. 2 or 4 questions you will definitely get, and that's going to be very useful because even a 1 mark decimal point 5, that is going to change a lot. Because in this time also almost 3 people got a same mark for the top 2, 3, 4 same mark only. Because even a 1 mark will one question difference can change a lot of things, sir.
Very true, very true. So even a small thing can help you get a seat, and it could be the difference between you getting or not getting a seat. So what was your score this time in the theory paper, Niranjan?
So 48.33.
It was 48.33. And what was the highest mark given?
52, sir.
52. 52. So as he said previously also that it was a tough paper. So that is why, you had to be a bit circumspect. And so 48 was a very good mark out of 80. Can you just stress upon a few topics from which medicine questions usually came from? And how one should, if just one wants to prepare for the medicine part, is just knowing Harrison enough?
For Harrison is enough, sir. This time they asked about sepsis. Sepsis, I think they gave 2 questions this time. Then regarding basic questions, that is infections. I think infections they are asking questions, that is basic septic shock, sepsis. Then some questions related to nephrology only, sir. Glomerular manifestations of hepatitis C, systemic diseases. So I think medicine, I think better to read based on the topics closely related to nephrology, like autoimmune diseases, like which are have renal manifestations. Try to read rheumatoid, then vasculitis. Then in endocrine, try to read cause the secondary hypertension. Then adrenal disorders of adrenal. Then in metabolic disorders, hyperoxaluria. Then the amino acid metabolism disorders. Then uric acid metabolism disorders. Then cardiovascular lipid metabolism. Then in the respiratory system, rheumatoid interstitial lung disease, pulmonary alveolar hemorrhage. The manifestation that is related to nephrology from medicine, you just read that important topics. You have to have a broad knowledge, but these things,
But that will be
this
more high
person,
yielding. Yeah.
yes,
That
sir,
you have to
yes,
stress upon a bit more. So,
yes,
that is a very, very great analysis that Dr. Niranjan has given you guys. So, you guys have to definitely read the entire medicine, but just a couple of days before, if you have to revise some high yielding points, so these are the high yielding points that you need to revise. Okay. And just can you tell the viewers what were the nephrology interview questions that were asked you?
yes. First question was a ECG, sir. First question they asked was an ECG. That's a heart block ECG. Then actually they wanted hypokalemia. This time I didn't make that mistake. I analyzed the ECG properly. Then asked about various heart blocks, basics of ECG. What is the axis? What is the normal axis? How will you analyze an ECG? Then in the second question, they gave me a scenario. It was a cerebral salt wasting question. I didn't go straight away to the diagnosis. I analyzed the question and then I picked up the positive findings from the investigation's history. And then it's a case of hyponatremia. The patient is hypovolemic. Then so it can be a cerebral salt wasting. Then he asked why it can't be a CR. Then what is the difference between cerebral salt wasting? Actually, that cerebral salt wasting CR question also came in the prelims also, sir. Same
Also in the
question
theory
came
exam.
to
Yeah.
they,
So
they,
they
they, they
repeated.
check,
So you were
they
lucky
check
enough
the,
you got the same question in both the papers.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Then they gave me a non-contrast CT. Then they asked how will you differentiate between contrast and CT, non-contrast CT, which are the structures seen, what is the pyelonephritis, what is the grading, how will you treat the pyelonephritis, what is the antibiotics, how surgical training, what are the stages. Then they gave me
So they basically asked you emphysematous pyelonephritis.
pyelonephritis. They asked the emphysematous
Achha.
pyelonephritis, what is the treatment, what are structures, then what is the density, which all structures. Then they tested about the investigations like intravenous pyelogram, then voided cystourethrogram, then how is the procedure done. Then they wanted to know how basically these things are done, how to interpret these results, what are the causes and all. This time, I
Great.
think they didn't ask. Usually they ask ABG also, but this time they didn't ask ABG. I expected an ABG also this time.
Yeah, they
But this
didn't
time they
ask
didn't.
you, but many students were asked ABG also.
Yes, yes, sir.
So the interview questions this time were absolutely not overlapping. ECG, hard block ECG was given to at least 3 to 4 students, but many other students were given CT images of angiomyolipoma. He was given a CT image of pyelonephritis. Some were given a CT image of totally emphysematous pyelonephritis. Some were given a VUR image of voiding cystourethrogram. So, most of which we had already discussed in the mock
Yes.
interview session. So,
The night before the interview, we
yeah.
have already discussed the most of the images, sir. Especially the CT scan, how to in the structures, how to properly analyze. Then all the glomerular disease, most of the glomerular disease scenarios we already discussed. Then including the approaches, what is the treatment, what are differential diagnosis, what are stains used. Actually, it really helps, sir.
So, just the night before the final interview, we conducted a 3-hour long mock interview session, as Dr. Niranjan said. And there I had given case scenarios for almost all key glomerular syndromes, where there we had discussed almost all available radiological entities available in nephrology that we use: the DTPA scan, the DMSA scan, the CT scan, the NCCT, the contrast CT, and how to interpret them. And we already had a grasp of it. And I was very, very happily, surprised to see that after the interview, almost everyone told me that, sir, this we had discussed and this exactly came. And the most
Yes, emphysema pyelonephritis. You
yeah,
said it will
emphysematous,
definitely ask. Don't miss it.
absolutely,
It will
and that was asked.
definitely ask.
And I was happiest about the angiomyolipoma, because when I was thinking, I thought maybe this is a bit difficult or so, but I still made that question. And when that lady messaged me that, sir, it was the exact same image given, because I had also picked up that image from Up to Date, and they also did the same. So they gave a clinical scenario of tuberous sclerosis, and they asked, and they gave a CT image, and there was a hypodense lesion near the renal, near the kidney, and they asked basically what is the arrow showing, and that was an angiomyolipoma, and that exact same thing we had discussed last week. So I was really very happy that our strike rate in both the theory and the interview was bang on, and it actually boiled down to the temperament of the student, because almost everyone was very good enough, and almost everyone was at par. But it was only the temperament which one answers the question, one has a structured approach, one does not panic, which eventually yields the rank. So, it was great talking to you, Dr. Niranjan, that he absolutely broke down the process to crack the interview and the process to crack the theory exam. Just, last parting words, would you want to give a message, or would you want to say something to the budding nephrologists who want to study nephrology at the most premier institute of the country? That, you need to be really very brilliant, you need to be born out of Mars, or anyone, anywhere, any periphery, a student who's doing MD in a very remote periphery of the country, can he still crack AIIMS nephrology?
So first thing is dedication. If you want nephro and if you have a proper love for the subject, then even if you are doing your MD in any peripheral institutions, if you have a proper attitude, then if you are if you are okay to give maximum, that is properly examine the patients, reading accordingly, go in a systematic approach. Don't start up with the nephro with books and all. First, properly read Harrison, properly see the patients, work up the patients, and during the second year postings, when you get to see the proper nephrology patients, start reading nephrology and properly reading, try to make notes, because you cannot revise the whole book just before the exam. Try to make at least notes of the important topics, because that will be really useful, because visual memory, that is seeing your own handwriting, highlighted things, that will be really helpful just before the exam, because you want difficult topics will be really helpful if you have notes. Making notes will be very useful, and also up to date. So up to date is very useful, sir. Actually, the up to date, there's a section that what's new in hypertension nephrology. I'll give like a newspaper. In November 2021, this drug was approved for chronic kidney disease for anemia. This drug was approved. This was the latest updates will also be there, and also it's like a textbook. You can see or read various topics from up to date also after reading the basic textbooks. And if you love the subject, it's not going to be very difficult, because even if you don't need to be very brilliant, because you only need a proper guidance and a proper attitude. And after reading properly the textbooks, you can crack out the institutional exam also. Because I really worked hard, sir. Because I don't have a good memory, I really worked hard for the exam, and I was able to crack it.
So it is basically the passion and persistence. These are the two key P's that will take you to places, and that is what Dr. Niranjan is stressed upon. So Niranjan, what are your plans now? Where do you intend to join, and what is your immediate plan now?
Sir, today we had an option filling, probably Jipmer, sir. Jipmer Pondicherry.
Great. It's a very, very good institute. So Jipmer nephrology, of course, he'll probably get that also at his rank of 4. So it's great, and welcome to the nephrology fraternity. So we'll keep on, we'll keep in touch, and we'll keep on meeting in nephrology conferences, and may you grow higher and higher, and may you reach all the peaks that you want to.
Thank you, sir.
So any message for the doctoratorials team who have worked really hard for all the students? Anything we want to tell them?
Sir, the doctorals, in addition to the sir, I thank you for all the help, sir. Because when I got low, because when I was starting from that failure of the interview, I started messaging you, sir. I don't know, sir. I am totally depressed. Come, chalo, study, start reading, start watching the videos, start doing the question bank. Then from that onwards, I started doing the videos and the question bank. And also the staffs of the doc tutorials, if for any queries, they used to reply super fast because I want to add another subscription. They will reply super fast to me and they will do all the help also, sir. Even if there's a doubt in one question, if we ask, they will that will also be corrected so fastly. Even the exam, if some mock test is conducted and time duration is less, and if you're not able to complete the questions, they provide the PDF format and ask you to do separately and have a proper revision. I think the total faculty as well as the staffs of the doc tutorials have been at all lot of help, sir, because I think it was a journey, sir. The last 6 months have been a really helpful, sir. Because of only that, I could crack these exams. Thank you.
Superb, superb. Great, great. So would you recommend your juniors, your junior colleagues, doc tutorials to them? Would you recommend to them? At what stage in their journey would you recommend it to them? Would you recommend them joining in the very first year or second year, or when? When would you recommend doc tutorials full nephrology package to them?
So actually, I think the second year period is quite free because during the first year and final year, I don't think they will be getting a lot of time. I think during the second year, I think they should subscribe to a specialty and try to watch the videos during their free time. That is, during the free postings, try to cover the videos and make notes.
So watch the videos,
And
make the notes, and be ready with all the notes in your own handwriting by the time the exam approaches, so that
yes,
you
sir.
can go for 3-4 revisions and you can kill the exam.
Yes, sir.
Great, great. So Niranjan, it was great talking to you. And as you said, a big shout out to the doc tutorials team for working at the 11th hour and working. And the main motive of our team is to help the students, and that is what makes us all happy. So great, great going. Thank you very much. All the very
Thank you,
best.
sir. Thank you, sir.